All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something really fundamental. It's that feeling you have right now that there's a you inside your head calling the shots. But what if that feeling, that sense of being in charge, is just a powerful illusion?
No, seriously, just pause for a second. That you that you feel, the one who's thinking your thoughts, feeling your feelings, is it a real, solid thing? Or could it just be a belief you hold so strongly you've never even questioned it? That's the rabbit hole we're going down today.
So the academic study we're looking at has a name for this: the illusion of a separate self. It's this deep, almost unconscious assumption that there's a little CEO in your head, a me, running the show. And like one of the guides in this study said, the belief is so powerful we don't even see it as a belief. We just assume it's an absolute truth. And because of that, we never, ever think to question it.
Okay, so how on earth do you even start to look into something so fundamental? Well, this study zeroed in on a fascinating group called Liberation Unleashed. They've got a really unique, modern way of tackling this ancient question.
So this group, Liberation Unleashed, or LU for short, it's this global thing that started back in 2011, and it's all online. Here's the interesting part. They're not connected to any religion or spiritual philosophy, and it's totally free. Their entire mission, their whole reason for existing, is just to help people investigate and, see through this illusion of a separate self. And they do it through a pretty cool one-on-one dialogue method.
They call their method direct pointing, and it's pretty straightforward. A seeker, that's what they call the person looking, gets paired up with a guide online. The guide then starts asking these really specific, pointed questions. But this isn't about having some big philosophical debate. No, the whole point is to get the seeker to stop thinking about it, to get out of their head and just look, to look directly at what's actually happening in their experience, right here, right now.
But it's not always a straight shot from A to B. The study found there are these major psychological roadblocks that pop up again and again. So let's take a look at what they are.
And what's cool is the study actually counted how many times the guides brought up each of these roadblocks. And the data here is pretty telling. Look at this. Beliefs and expectations, way out in front. It's the biggest hurdle by a mile. And right behind it, you've got fear. So we're not talking about small, little bumps in the road here. These are the main challenges people face.
So let's start with obstacle number one, the big one: expectations. People, or seekers, often come into this process with a whole suitcase full of ideas about what's supposed to happen. They've read books, they've heard stories, they're expecting some kind of enlightenment fireworks show, maybe some flashing lights, a choir of angels, the whole 9 yards.
And this is where the guides really have to step in. As this one guide puts it, a huge part of their job is just to destroy every single one of those expectations. They have to gently, or maybe not so gently, show the seeker that whatever they think is going to happen, it's nothing like that. Not even close. All right, on to the second big obstacle, fear. And this one makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, the whole idea of losing yourself, the thing you believe is the very center of your being, that's got to be terrifying. And the guides in the study said this fear shows up in all sorts of ways. Sometimes it's subtle, like people suddenly getting bored or trying to crack jokes, and sometimes it's just pure panic.
And that fear, it's a total showstopper. This guide says it perfectly. You just can't make any progress while someone is scared. It's impossible. So the first and most important job is to make sure the person feels safe. Without that trust, the whole investigation just grinds to a halt.
Okay, roadblock number 3. This one's a biggie. It's the belief in control. That gut feeling that I am the one choosing things, that I control my thoughts, I control my actions. This feeling of being the doer in your own life, man, that is one of the hardest parts of this whole illusion to see through.
So to get at this, the guides use these super simple direct experiments. Here's a great one from the study. The guide says, okay, put 2 different drinks in front of you, now close your eyes and pick one up. Simple, right? But then comes the hard part. The guide asks, how did that happen? Describe the actual mechanism of that choice. And what this guide found is that when people really honestly look, they can't find a decider. And that discovery, it's pretty shocking for most people.
And this really gets to the heart of their whole method. It all comes down to this one crucial difference: the difference between thinking and looking. Thinking is answering from your head. from memory, from concepts, from stuff you've learned. But looking, that's totally different. That's about dropping all of that and just reporting on what you can actually perceive with your senses in this exact moment.
One of the guides came up with the absolute perfect analogy for this. It's brilliant. Imagine I ask you, hey, are your keys in your pocket? Now, you could think about it. You could try to remember, did I put them there? Or you could just look by putting your hand in your pocket to feel if they're there. See the difference? That's what the LU method is all about, getting people to stop thinking about the self and start looking for it.
So, okay, you get past the expectations, you deal with the fear, you start looking instead of thinking. What happens then? What is this seeing actually like? What did the guides in the study say?
Well, for some people, it's incredibly dramatic. This one guide described their own experience as being really intense, a powerful physical feeling, like literally crashing into a wall at full speed, and then just silence and clarity.
But then you have a completely different story. For others, it's the total opposite. This guide said for them, there was no pop, no big firework going off. It was gentle, subtle. They compared it to the feeling of just responding to flowers blossoming. The point is, there's no single way this happens. It's not a one-size-fits-all experience at all. So does this mean you disappear? What do you actually lose? According to all the guides, the answer is nothing. Nothing that was actually real to begin with. Your personality doesn't go away. Your memories are still there. You can still do your job. The only thing that drops away is a belief, an assumption that was running in the background your entire life that you probably never even knew was there.
So we've looked at the method, we've looked at the roadblocks. Now to wrap this up, let's turn the whole investigation right back around to you.
So let's end with a final question. Just for a second, right now, try to look at your own experience. Can you find the thing, the entity, the chooser, the you, that is going to decide what your very next thought will be? Or does that thought just show up? That's a question nobody else can answer for you. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.